I was really excited for this game this morning, not because I got to watch football while eating pancakes, but because I thought that Arthur Smith and Robert Saleh were the best new head coaching hires this offseason, and man, Arthur Smith had his best game as a coach so far. One thing he did really well was getting Kyle Pitts involved more, and he showed up. 9 catches, over 110 yards, and 1 touchdown. He looked like the Kyle Pitts we all knew and loved when he was at Florida, and honestly, if they can keep on getting him the ball, the Falcons offense could really start to get something going. And Pitts got the ball so much today because their top 2 receivers were out. Both Calvin Ridley and Russell Gage weren't playing today, so Arthur Smith and Matt Ryan had to get creative and spread the ball out more to different targets, and they did that really well. Kyle Pitts, Cordell Patterson, Olamide Zaccheaus, hell, even Lee Smith was getting involved, and he's a run-blocking tight end. This was really a great game plan that I saw from Arthur Smith today. However, if the Falcons want to take their offense to the next level, I would use Cordell Patterson as a running back more. He has similar size to Derrick Henry as Tennessee, which is where Arthur Smith came from, so they can really use him as a Derrick Henry clone, and he's also averaging like 4.4 yards per carry. Your starting running back is Mike Davis, which, I mean, isn't awful, but at the same time, if you have someone who's basically, let's call him a mini Derrick Henry, I would use him a lot more, and I think it'd really replicate the offense we saw in Tennessee the past couple of years. I have to give it to Zach Wilson. It's pretty impressive how he had a really bad start to the season, but the past couple of games, he's been looking better and better. However, accuracy is still a huge issue for him. And I mean, it's like that a lot for rookie quarterbacks. I mean, we saw Josh Allen. He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn when he was throwing the football his rookie year. Same with guys like Lamar Jackson. Accuracy tends to be the biggest issue for NFL rookie quarterbacks when they first enter the league. But I think this Jets team will be good eventually. I think you have to get a couple more pieces on defense. You have a really good defensive head coach, but I think right now the talent is lacking. You have to give Wilson some time to fully learn the Mike LaFleur system. I think it's a system he can thrive in, and it's a system that allows for the quarterback. It takes a lot of pressure off the quarterback, which I think will help Wilson a lot. But to go along with that, you also need a better run game. Now, I do think Michael Carter is a very good running back, but you also need to have a rotational running back you can throw in there, and you have to allow Michael Carter time to develop. So if I'm Jets fans, I would be a little disappointed with how the season is going so far, but I keep you heads up high because I really do think that Robert Saleh, Mike LaFleur, and Zach Wilson could be building something really good in New York. I have never seen an ending to a game like we did with the Packers and the Bengals. 5 missed field goals with like 2 minutes left in the game plus overtime. 5! Do you know how insane that is? I think they were saying it's the first time that has happened since about over 30 years, so like since the 80s or 70s. But that was absolutely insane. Eventually, Mason Crosby came up clutch, finally remembered how to put one through the uprights, and gave the Packers that victory. But I have to give it to the Bengals. They are legit, especially that defense. Holding an offense like the Packers to just 25 points, especially in 5 quarters of football, really great job by Zach Taylor and the Cincinnati Bengals. And also, let's not forget, Jamar Chase is absolutely that guy for the Cincinnati Bengals. He's continuing to go on a stellar rookie year for Cincinnati. I really do think that the Bengals could be contenders. Now, you know, they have a couple of tough teams in their division. Along with them, they have the Browns and the Ravens, and even the Steelers, who got a win today. It's going to be tough to win the AFC North. I think if the Bengals do make the playoffs, it would probably be as a wild card team, but hats off to the Bengals for a really great game played, and man, what an ending to this game.
When you see your players give all that they have, and you lose that way, it's tough. You know, you don't want that for them. So
that was Detroit's head coach Dan Campbell after the game, and I mean, you honestly have to feel for the Lions. It's another heartbreaking loss, and it's already their second of the season, but just feels like whenever they lose, it's just always heartbreaking. I mean, these are the kinds of games that they will eventually win within a year or two. I really do think Dan Campbell is a good head coach. I think he's changed that culture in Detroit really well. And their defense, great job. They've been playing better as of lately. They held the Ravens to only 19 points, held the Vikings to only 19 points. The defense is really stepping up. I think the offense is definitely the main issue there in Detroit. And also, you need to have a better 30-second defense, I guess you could call it. But I think what I've come to learn is that Kirk Cousins is still an elite quarterback. B, he can win without Cook, but Cook makes the offense a lot more electric. There are some plays where Madison doesn't get a lot. Like, Madison's still a very good running back, don't get me wrong. But there are some plays where, hey, maybe Dalvin Cook gets a touchdown on that play, or hey, maybe Cook picks up the first down on that play. That's how I feel about the whole situation with Dalvin Cook being out and Alexander Madison. I do think that Kirk Cousins now has the capability to win games without Dalvin Cook, but Cook just goes and makes that offense a lot more electric. Panthers had such a great start to the season, but now back-to-back losses has me questioning, are the Panthers really that good of a team? I mean, it's the second week in a row where they've basically collapsed in the second half. Sam Darnold ended up throwing 3 interceptions this game and was just not looking sharp or on keen at all. Really just bad. I mean, the defense played well. They were able to hold the Eagles to just 21 points, but that offense is just staking it up there. And the Eagles defense, this was a defensive battle. The Eagles defense was able to keep that team in the game. However, for the Philadelphia, that offense is still very, very putrid. First half was just full of screens. They still refuse to run the ball. I'm also not 100% sold on Jalen Hurts yet. I mean, he's just missing simple throws. He's not throwing it over the middle of the field. I don't know why. I mean, we all know he's good with his legs. That was never a question, but just his decision making and passing as a quarterback, I'm still not completely sold on. But the Eagles, they were able to have a nice comeback today. I think that really gives them a lot of motivation. They need that win. They had 3 really bad losses in a row after that dominant win over the Falcons to start the week off. But hey, now they can take that momentum and carry it over into Thursday Night Football against the Buccaneers. Man, who would have thought that giving your first round running back out of a college that produces really good running backs 20 plus touches a game would lead to a win? Oh wait, I've been saying that for the past 3 weeks. I don't know why it took the Steelers so long to finally let Najee Harris just do his thing. He's a great running back. He was a first round talent for a reason. Finally, thank you so much for just giving him the ball. That's all you need to do. Roethlisberger, I've been saying it all year. Roethlisberger is not at that point in his career where he can be throwing the ball 40 plus times a game, even 30 plus times a game. I wouldn't let him cross that threshold. Please just keep on feeding Najee Harris. He had over 100 yards, he had a touchdown, and he was instrumental to that win today. Steelers defense also did a nice job shutting down a pretty good Broncos offense. Steelers defense played a little shaky at points this year, but they are really able to hammer down this Broncos team and get another win. And now Denver is really starting to look like pretenders. They started out 3-0, but those 3 wins were against the Jets, the Giants, and the Jaguars. 3 bad teams. And now they've played 2, I'd say good teams. And they've lost 2 in a row. They played the Ravens last week, and then they played the Steelers this week. It's just not looking like Denver are real contenders, which is a shame because, it looked like Teddy Bridgewater was like, it looked like they finally found a quarterback in Teddy Bridgewater, but, now he's not looking as good as he did the first 3 games. The offense hasn't been worked out. The defense is still playing good, but, I don't know, Denver. I'm not too high on you guys right now. Might need to make some changes. I'm a really big fan of Jameis Winston, but he's giving me a little bit of anxiety. He's that high ceiling, low floor kind of guy. But man, when he hits his ceiling, he is a superb quarterback. His accuracy wasn't the best today, but he still had 4 touchdowns and was able to lead the Saints to a win over Washington, not at an away game. That's really impressive. I do think Jameis could be the franchise's future quarterback, but still needs to fix a little things, accuracy, just ball placement. It's getting better, but not quite there yet. But how about Marquez Callaway? Having 3 touchdowns, I want to say today, 2 or 3 touchdowns. He caught this Hail Mary. And we saw him in the preseason. He was playing really good. People were expecting for him to be the Saints' top target. Doesn't really do too much at the beginning of the season, but today has a breakout game. I'm really excited to see how Sean Payton continues to work him into the offense, especially while Michael Thomas is still out. And then, of course, I've been saying it for the entire year. Washington's defense is just awful. I don't know what happened. They were a top 5 defense last year, and now they're bottom 2. I don't know what happened. It's not like they lost huge pieces in free agency either. And if anything, I would say they've gotten better over free agency or over the offseason. But I don't know what happened with Ron Rivera. I don't know what happened with the defense. It's just bad. And if Washington wants to make the playoffs, they're going to have to do it with a strong defense. Man, who would have thought that the Texans actually had a fighting chance in this game, especially with a rookie third-round quarterback, when rookie quarterbacks have done really poor against Bill Belichick in the past. Davis Mills played really good today. He had 3 touchdowns, was looking sharp. He actually, he was a very raw prospect coming into the draft, had very limited football experience, but hey, if you keep on giving him snaps, maybe Houston has something there at quarterback. Also, where the hell did this guy Chris Moore come out of? 5 catches, over 100 yards, and a touchdown. Was just absolutely electric today. Really helped the Texans offense out. I'd never heard of him before. I looked him up. I think he was just like a special teamer in Baltimore before he went to Houston. But unfortunately for the Texans, the defense blew it in the fourth quarter. They allowed 10 unanswered points, and that ended up resulting in a Patriots victory. They improved to 3-2 on the season. I had to think about that for a second. Or 2-3. I don't know. It's probably 2-3. That sounds right. But I mean, had the Patriots lost that game, that just would have been awful for them, because they didn't do good last year. They off to a rough start this year. I think the Patriots really need to come out, win a couple of games. Also, this game really pissed me off for fantasy. I was starting both Brandon Cooks and the New England defense. So I was thinking in my mind, all right, either Brandon Cooks is going to pop off or Davis Mills is just going to suck, and the Patriots defense does really well. Well, guess what? Patriots defense does not do well, and then Brandon Cooks has like 5 catches for like 35 yards. It does not help me in fantasy. I'm pretty mad about that. I know I'm probably sounding like a broken record, but Tom Brady just continues to amaze me. He has another 5 touchdown game. I understand the Dolphins defense isn't good right now, but man, 5 touchdowns, like for any quarterback, that's hard. But Tom Brady, he's becoming a little bit of an MVP favorite for me. I mean, he has a great supporting cast. Antonio Brown looked like his vintage shelf. It was really nice to see Antonio Brown have a game like he did today. And the entire Bucs offense was just on point. And I understand that the Dolphins are just a god-awful team right now. I mean, their defense, like just like what happened with Washington's, the defense was good last year. It sucks this year. And guess what? The offense isn't doing that many favors either. Jacoby Brissett just isn't playing really well, and I don't think Tua is going to play that well either once he comes back. So for the Dolphins, you have to figure out something that can save your season, whether it's making an impact trade, maybe for Deshaun Watson, or just sitting your team down and just like ripping them a new one, because right now the Dolphins are not at the point where basically everyone expected for them to be, which was a playoff contender. They've been playing really bad, but what are you going to do? But for Tom Brady and Buccaneers, at the end of the game, actually, for the post-game press conference, excuse me, he had his wrapped hand, and they do have a short week this week, so interesting to see what will happen there. Blaine Gabbert ended up coming at the end of the game. Maybe we see a Blaine Gabbert start, maybe not. I mean, Tom Brady has fought through injury before, but it's a hand injury. Quarterbacks need hands to throw, so definitely will be interesting to see how Tom Brady is on Thursday Night Football. So this was the first game for the Jaguars after the whole Urban Meyer fiasco, so it's going to be interesting to see how they came out and played, and, well, they played like garbage, as always. And I think a lot of how the team is playing just falls on Meyer. He's just not a good coach in the pros, and it just happens. Like, when you go from college to NFL, you're not coaching young adults. You're coaching grown-ass men. You can't treat your players in the NFL like you treat them in college. They're 2 different kinds of players. You just can't do that. Also, I just don't think his scheme's working. I've talked about that before, but his scheme is just awful right now. But something interesting to note, Derrick Henry basically owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. He has over 100 yards per game when he plays the Jaguars, and I mean, he's going to play him a lot since they're in the division, and the Jaguars have been a pretty bad team as of late. But man, Derrick Henry, one of the, if not the best running backs in the game right now, and Jaguars fans just don't even bother watching when he plays them. However, someone I think has been a little disappointing so far this year is Ryan Tannehill. I'm not sure if that's because of AJ Brown and Julio Jones not being fully healthy, or if it's because of Arthur Smith leaving, or if it's just because Tannehill is finally seeing regression. But he's not looking like the quarterback we saw the past couple of years, where he was, you know, a comeback player of the year candidate. And it's interesting. I mean, Tennessee's defense is still pretty good, and you know, if worse comes to worse, they can always ride Derrick Henry into the playoffs. But you have a couple of really good weapons. I'd like to see Tannehill, you know, air it out more. Stop being so conservative. I think Tannehill definitely has a starting quality arm, and I'd like to see the Titans use it more. Holy shit, this was such a good game. It's one of those games where it's like, man, it sucks that one of these teams had to lose. And honestly, it's pretty funny. For two teams who are trying to prove that they are really good defensively, this was quite the opposite of that. A 49-42 victory for the Los Angeles Chargers. Absolutely insane game, and both quarterbacks played superb. Herbert won 26 of 43 for 398 yards and 4 touchdowns. Baker on the other side went 25 of 32 for 305 yards and 2 touchdowns. Both offenses just absolutely potent today, and it was just a fun game to watch. I love high-scoring games so much, and this game just... it made me feel so warm and fuzzy inside. Now, I wouldn't be too worried about either of the defenses for the teams. I mean, both teams are very good offensively, and it showed. So, would I be worried that both teams may struggle against good offensive teams? Maybe. But as a defense in total, I'm still very confident at what the Browns and the Chargers can both do on that side of the ball. I think both of them will bounce back next week and put on good defensive performances. And maybe, hey, who knows? Maybe, who knows what kind of offensive performances we will see from these two teams from the rest of the year. Man, this game just sucked for the Giants, and I mean, it all came from injuries. First, Saquon Barkley injured his ankle after he got rolled up on, and then Daniel Jones was concussed on this play here, could barely even walk. Kenny Golladay ended up getting injured. They were already without Darius Slayton and Sterling Shepard, but hey, Kadarius Toney, my dog, popped off. 189 yards on 10 catches and 1 touchdown. Absolutely fantastic game for the rookie. I love this guy. I'm so happy he played the way he did. But Dallas, they got the better of the Giants, mainly due to the Giants, you know, not having like half their offensive starters. But Dallas is definitely one of the best teams in the NFC, in my opinion. Their offense is potent. It looks unstoppable. It looks so good. And their defense is improving a lot. I'm really impressed with what Dan Quinn has done with this defense. And honestly, it's going to lead them to the playoffs. Dallas is a very good team, very well coached right now. Everything is going smooth for them. They don't have too hard of a schedule coming up. Dallas fans, maybe it's you. They're definitely making the playoffs. I wouldn't go Super Bowl yet, but this may be your year. So for some reason, the Niners highlights and the Bears highlights I could not download. Don't know why, so I'm just going to recap them on camera for you guys. For the 49ers, it's still Jimmy's team, in my opinion. Trey Lance looked really shaky, did not look like he was ready for the moment. He has talent, he's going to be good, but I can understand why they want him to learn under Jimmy Garoppolo for a couple of years. He definitely needs a little bit more smoothing, ironing out, and I think if once they do that, San Francisco is going to have their franchise guy. Also, good job for the 49ers being able to shut down the #1 offense in the league. Great job there. It's proving that Robert Saleh wasn't entirely responsible for that defense, and that, A, DeMeco Ryans is coaching really well, but B, all that talent on the defensive side of the ball is going to good use. However, Cardinals are still the best team in the league, in my opinion. Not the best offensive game, but they were able to shut down a really good defense, or really good offense for the San Francisco 49ers, and are still really good offensively, just didn't have their best game today. I'm excited to see how they do throughout the rest of the season. And then also, for the Bears and Raiders, why are you playing Justin Fields conservative? I mean, he's a lot more talented than Andy Dalton. He has a lot more arm strength than him. Just let him rip. If you're going to let him play, at least experiment with him. Let him go deep. Let him see what he has. I don't understand why you're just being so conservative with someone who has as much talent as Fields does. And I have to say, the Bears defense is definitely better than what I thought it was. I thought with losing Chuck Pagano, they lost a couple of players in the offseason. Didn't think it would do too good, but the Bears defense playing really, really well up to this point. Same with the Raiders defense. Even though they ended up losing, the Raiders still played really good on the defensive side of the ball. Offense was just stale today. Don't know how that happened. And also, Chicago, for the love of God, please fire Matt Nagy and Bill Lazor. Both of them are just so bad. The scheme is awful. I didn't like the play calling the past 2 games. It's so bad in my opinion. I don't understand why they still have jobs, but great one for Chicago. Justin Fields gets his first career one. We can see what he does from there. But yeah, that's it for today's video. Make sure you leave a like and hit the subscribe button. It goes a long way towards supporting me and this channel, and I really appreciate every single one of you guys. Also, make sure you check the description where I have my Instagram, my TikTok, and my Twitter linked. I post some fun stuff there. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a fantastic day.